Hey everyone, I wanted to mimic two formulas for two different jobs that's helped me tremendously with my career thus far. And I thought it'd be very valuable to share. So, these two formulas, one for a government accountant job, and then second for a tax job that I did part time, nights and weekends on top of my government job that I did previously full time. So, um, very valuable. So uh, they saves a ton of time, and time is money. You could do more, and you're more efficient. You stand out if you can articulate to management. They could see, number one, that you're doing more, or even if you're self-employed, you're gonna be able to get more work done, like a lot more work done. This save hours, and you will stand out compared to your peers that are not uh, working with the formulas, taking forever, making more mistakes. And I know personally, my supervisors have also have came to me many times and seen my value with Excel in being able to navigate. Definitely has helped me out. And then career growth. There is jobs, so any accountant job is going to save you a lot of time, which is huge. Tax jobs saves you a lot of time. You can be able to get more tax returns done, be able to check out and get more money in return. It's been huge. But also, there's more advanced you can go with Excel. Now, this is just kind of getting you a couple formulas to get you to that knowledgeable level a little bit with a couple different formulas. And but you could there's financial analysts, business analysts, data analysts, where you're dealing with much larger data sets, which can also pay very well. And so, uh, little by little, you learn Excel, you get better and better and better. And so, I'm just going to go over here. I just have small replicas of what I do at work to show you what I do. And the first one is the V lookup. And this is what I use at my job when I deal with account payable. What I do is the objective here is we get the comments, we generate the reports from the system, and then from the reports, we want to get the comments for each vendor from the prior day. So what other people were doing, which was taking forever, making mistakes, they were looking for the vendor, copying the comments, and then pasting the comments, which takes a heck of a lot more time, make mistakes. So what I ended up doing was I had copied and pasted that whole prior day report, put it on a sheet, and used this V lookup formula, which I'll show you here briefly with this. So we got some vendors, we got invoice numbers, we want the comments from the prior day. So the way VLOOKUP works is we want to find the invoice number. That's like the unique ID here. And we go to the previous day. And what we do here is we want to highlight the range that matters here. And with VLOOKUPs, you always, with the range, you are matching the unique ID, in this case invoice number, is always going to be the first column. That's the way VLOOKUP works. XLOOKUP is different. I'll tell you in a second. And we want to return that second column in this example here. You want to count the columns from the first for the return value. In this case, it's the second column. We want the comments from the prior day. And this is similar to what it would look like at work, except there's a lot more. And so we close this. And what we also want to do is we want to lock in the range value so it doesn't go down one, like when we copy and paste the formula with the other um, line items, which we're going to go turn back to in a second. So we lock that in, and boom, just like that. And what we do here is, I'll show you another trick here that I do in a second. So boom, and all the way down, just like that. copies everything from the prior year, the blank ones. Then what I would typically do, where it says in this case NA, which I'll fix in a second. Then I would go and I would do my research so that I usually do at work, and then I accordingly write a comment on what I did for that invoice. And what I do is we approve the invoices by matching the receipts and the PO numbers. Which, if you understand internal controls, it's separated in wherever in corporations, or in my case, government accounting. That's typically how they would have it set up, and so we are going to utilize the if error. So what we do here is we put the VLOOKUP in a parenthesis, and we do if error in front. Two close parentheses. Oops. Hold on. Meant to put a parenthesis there. And when we drag this down, you see nothing else changes here except the NA. It changed it to blanks. So it looks cleaner. So then when I see the blank, then I say, okay, this is a new invoice. And then I would go and I would do my research to see the status, send an email out, try to find the PO number, look at the invoice, try to find the receipt number. I'd put it in the comments, and then I'd prove in the system accordingly the invoices. So another thing I do at my job is the aging reports for reimbursements of traveling. So um, aging reports, right? Um, so we're trying to track employees down, saying, okay, use the employee credit card. You need to submit a report, etc. So we update this every month from the reports in the system. So we want to get the comments from the prior month. However, what makes it different in this situation than the accounts payable scenario is, in the accounts payable, we're only looking at one ID number, the invoice number matching. In this scenario, because we can't do that, it won't work out, the VLOOKUP, because we want not only either the report number or employee ID, but we want the transaction amount, because as we could see down here, which I'm using the examples, we see three different same exact report numbers in employee ID. If I do the VLOOKUP, it's just going to take the first one for each of the other two, for each of the other three, the ones preceding it, which is going to be wrong. We want uniquely not only the employee number, we want additionally it to match with the transaction amount. So I use the X lookup in this scenario here. And if I show you the X lookup, which is newer and it's more advanced, it's better for different data sets, for bigger data sets. So the lookup value is, we're going to do 2. All right. So we're going to start here, and we're going to do the AND symbol. So we want both of them. You can't do that with the VLOOKUP. And the reason why we don't do index match here, we're doing VLOOKUPs and X lookups, is because it's a alphanumeric return is what we want. We're not dealing with numbers, we're dealing with comments here. And so we look up the array. So go to the previous day now. And what we want to do here is we want to take a column, this column. We want to also put the money signs in to lock in the column. And then we do the and sign again so that we can also match with this, the transaction. So we got 2, and we're going to lock that in. And the return column is right over here, is what we're looking for, the comment section. So if we lock in this range as well, and so what's different with the X lookups as well is we don't have to do the if error formula on top of it like VLOOKUPs. It's built in here. So this last column here was not the last one, but the last one I'm going to use here is if not found. So if it's not found, like if it's blank, we simply just put in the two quotation marks to return a blank nothing. Close that, and boom. And now we got the comments, and we're going to drag down, and it's going to match, and all the way to the rest. So it gave us the comments, and I scattered this on this example. And I try to make it difficult. So we had to see the multiple ones and multiple nines, but we got different returns because we're doing both criteria, employee ID and also the transaction amount. And then the blank ones, then what I would do is I would then do my typical research and the new comments of the day. Could be an email I would send out, or if it's already paid out to the employee, I would make a comment accordingly, and then save it for the day. And so this is the formulas I use the most with my government accountant job, and saves a ton of time. So this is just a small sample size. The more, if there are pages and pages of this, which is typically the case, just imagine how much time you're saving versus trying to match and going back and forth, try not to make an error in copying and pasting, which is what other people were doing where I work. So helped me out tremendously. And so let me show you now my tax job and the sum if formula. This is tremendous because this is a typical scenario. And um, what this is I pretty much mimicked here when you download, when a client would download a from their bank statement all their transactions, they wouldn't do the proper bookkeeping, and they would just give a big long list and say, here, do my taxes, add it up. And before, I was doing the plus formula, this plus this plus this, and I was looking for each expense, this plus this, and I was adding them up. And it would take forever. I'd make a mistake and figure out where I'm wrong, and as hours and hours would pass by, and I wouldn't be able to make as much money. I wouldn't be able to get as much tax returns done. Now, I recently showed this to a coworker this past tax season because that's what she was doing, and she's about 70 years old and doing taxes for 30, 40 years. And I showed her this, and she was amazed. She couldn't believe that this was even possible. She gave me a big hug. It was insane, because that's how much of a difference knowing this sum if formula it makes to a typical old school type of accountant. um I used to when I used to get a um when I used to get a bank statement from a client in a messy scenario, I would have to charge them a lot more money. And because of that, the client would get pissed, and would complain to maybe management or something, and it would just be counterproductive because I had no idea about the sum if formula. So let me just show you what I do. So what I did here is I did a sample. I did a bunch of random vendors. It shows up as negative because it's a negative on their bank statement, and a lot of them will either the client will name the categories, or a lot of times a lot of credit cards will automatically categorize it in this sort of way. So the first thing I would do here is actually the unique formula. So unique formula, and what we look for here is this whole, sorry, right here, all the categories, and it would condense it down so there's no duplicates. So then from here, we get the totals, And this is where I use the sum if. And the range here would be, if it's, if I'm not mistaken, is this one column first. And then the criteria is what you're looking for here. And then the sum range is everything in here. And boom. Just like that, it counted up all the meals from the right column and added everything from the left column. Now, a couple things that we need to do here is the criteria or the range we need to lock in so it doesn't go one down like we do with the output here for each total. And then the last thing we want to do is we want to make the negative go to a positive. So what we do here for that, put a parentheses in the beginning, and we just put a negative in front. Two negatives equal a positive, and it makes it go into a positive. So now here's the fun part. One down gets all the supplies. We have the formula here. We just drag it down, and we got the total. Bam. Just like that. Saves a ton of time. Saves a lot of errors. So let's do some reconciling. And let's get the total. This amount. Let's see if that matches the total sum. This column. And boom. There we have it. It reconciles. So you can imagine how much time gets saved here. The more the transactions there are, the more time is saved, and the more money you're going to earn. And so I hope this was helpful. Leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.